You guys had some key departures from the team, obviously, when you came here. Came back to school in August, and with Gabe gone and Chris gone. Talk about where the team was at that point, and going forward, what were your expectations for the team as well? I guess back in August of 2013.
So back at the beginning of this season, there were a lot of question marks, specifically with Chris Thomas, All-American, leaving. Obviously, Gabe Lateague drafted as well. So a lot of people were wondering how good we were going to be this year. But our team never really worried about it. We always lose key players, and we always reload. Our coaches do a great job of recruiting players who can step in at any time and fill those roles. So coming back in August, and we actually come back in like mid-July. A lot of us here, I was here all summer. So we were confident in the work that we put in starting in the summer. And I mean, going back to even the spring and January before that, running around the track in 0-degree weather. And it was those little things that gave us the confidence that we could replace those key players. And so we went into the season with the attitude that we had some missing pieces, so people had to step up. And with that being the case, people really put in the extra work, did all the little things they needed to do. And we had a lot of people really step up to the plate and do well for our team. And the key was everyone worked for each other, and it was a total team effort. It wasn't individual players stepping up particularly, but a total team effort. And that's really what gave us a successful season.
Did you guys have any specific goals of the team? Was it a SoCon title? Was it a NCAA berth? Or were you more, I guess, team-centered and see where we're going to go kind of sense?
Every year during preseason, we get together and we explicitly set our goals. And being that we'd won the SoCon tournament the past 2 years, that was definitely an automatic that we were going to go for the three-peat. And then we really wanted to get farther than we ever had before. So we'd never gotten past the first round of the NCAA tournament. And then this year we accomplished that goal, but that was something we set out in August. That was something that we wanted to do. And the way we looked at it, we talked about advancing in the NCAA tournament because our goal was to have the mindset to go into any game thinking that we could win it. And that's really the mindset that we had this year that really helped us in a lot of those big games.
Let's talk about, let's fast forward a little bit to mid-September, late September. You guys got off to a pretty hot start with wins over Wake Forest. Tell us, if you could talk a little bit about what was going right at that point in the season, kind of what you guys had built up to that point.
Yeah. We did get off to a good start on the season. We've traditionally struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season getting going, but there was really a lot of work put in over the summer and leading into the games that led to that success. And so when we had those big wins over Wake Forest, for example, that was something that we knew we were capable of from the start, really. And we were glad to have such great support from our fans for a lot of those big games. And that was something that gave us a lot of momentum in the beginning of the season, just having such ravish fans just going crazy.
I guess we'll put the team aside for a second. I mean, it's not easy, obviously, for an athlete to talk about themselves because you're so centered on the team, obviously. But if you talk about, you didn't come in as a scholarship player, and that's well known now. Talk about just the moment when you found out you were going to be a Elon soccer scholarship athlete.
Yeah. Well, I guess the process, I did come in freshman year as an unrecruited student. Coach Powell never heard of me at the time. We just sort of randomly met in the gym, and I emailed him and was hassling him about, hey, I'm pretty good at soccer, you should let me try out. And so eventually I got that tryout, and it was really intense and a lot of pressure, and I was really nervous about it, but I just put my nose down and put in work as much as I could, and he really saw that work ethic, even if at that point I was pretty raw talent, to say the least. But he invested in me then, and that investment really paid off this year.
If you could briefly talk about from that day, I guess, to now, late January 2014, what's the progression been like? Has it been fast in spurts, like beginning of this year, or has it been more gradual? If you could talk about that.
So from the time I joined the team, there have been quite a few changes, particularly in my game. When I came in, I was behind players like Chris Thomas, who was obviously renowned coming straight from high school. So I decided at that moment that what I would do to stick out was work harder than everyone else. And that was sort of the plan. And I mean, everyone on our team has this attitude, work harder than everyone else. And that's what makes everyone better all the time. But I decided that that would be my thing. I'm just going to work as hard as I can. And if Darren doesn't give me a spot in the team, it's because I absolutely don't deserve one. It's not because I didn't try or put in the effort. So sort of coming in with that attitude really led to a progression of me working as hard as I could all the time. And that really turned into skill, I mean, in the long run. And so that's sort of what propelled me, just from that moment being a raw talent who didn't really have exactly the composure, the touch that he needed to be successful at that time, to someone who could contribute to the team like I did this year. And now it's crazy how far I've come.
Was there a particular moment when with Coach Powell, was it someone in the athletic department saying, you're going to be a scholarship athlete? Or if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, the moment I found out that I'd made the team, well, first in the spring of my freshman year, I did like a 2-week tryout just to see if I could join the team for the spring. So those were some nerve-wracking 2 weeks. But thankfully, all the guys in the team reached out to me and were great to me, and no one was like mean to the walk-on kid, and everyone just embraced me, and that was really what made it possible for me to showcase the skill and work that I had. So then Darren told me, all right, you're on for the spring, and he was really casual about it. And then at the end of that spring, we have our end of the season meeting every semester. So I just went into his office, and he said, well, I don't know if you already know this, but I'm taking you on for the fall. So I was like, all right, well, I didn't know that. I don't know how I was supposed to know that without you telling me, but I was very thankful for that. And it was just a huge sigh of relief. I mean, just the work that I'd put in even before I tried out for the team in the fall, training by myself and going out into the field early in the mornings before class and just dribbling by myself and passing against the bench. It was just an amazing feeling to know that work I'd put in had paid off.
I guess let's pick back up the 2013 season. The season started to progress. You guys won more games. There was a couple bumps in the road. There were some losses here and there. Talk about, we're getting close to the SoCon tournament. Talk about the games both in the SoCon tournament, obviously the App State game here early in the tournament, but more in particular, if you don't mind, talking about the Wofford game, the championship game.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind kind of during that week and during that progression, that stretch there?
Yeah, so we were happy with the season as it kept going. I mean, we ended the season with 5 losses, I think. So that's always a good number to have. But we were upset that we didn't win the SoCon regular season. On the final game, another decision didn't go our way, even though we had a really great game against UNCG to come back and win. So we went into the SoCon tournament with a little bit of anger, I guess, that we hadn't won the regular season. And I think that was important in the way we approached the games. And we started out with a home game, which we were always thankful for, to have App State come here so that our fans could be there to support us, because it helps us to have the fans there cheering for us, but we also love giving the Elon fans the opportunity to come out and watch us play and have a good time. So that was special to us to have the home game. And I mean, App State is always a tough play. I mean, it was big, physical, and try and grind it out and hope they win 1-0. But I mean, I guess we ended up winning in penalties and ended up going to the 9th man. Nick Butterly stepped up, just did a little stutter step. Goalie fell over basically, just put it in the corner. And I mean, we had all the confidence in the world that Butters would hit it, because we see him do it all the time with his leadership and his composure. So we weren't worried about it at that point, but still that feeling that when we'd won and the dog pile that ensued, and we had a lot of alumni back watching that game. So that was really special to do that, especially on homecoming weekend. And then moving on, we faced Georgia Southern in the semifinals. That was a game where we were really just on point from the start. Ended up winning that game 5-1. And then the championship against Wofford. We do not like Wofford at all. And I'm sure they'd say the exact same things about us, so I don't really hesitate to say that. And they had won the regular season this year. And the year before, we had won and taken it away from them and won the tournament against them. So there is no love lost here. And they're a big physical team too, try and win on set pieces and physical play and just winning those 50-50 balls. And so we went in with this attitude that we have to outwork them, we have to out-tough them. And I mean, the conditions, it was pouring rain, it was freezing, and it was just, the field's getting muddy, and it was just ideal for exactly a beautiful championship situation. And finally, after, I don't know, it was like the 102nd minute or something, we finally put one away. And that feeling, that liberating feeling that we just beaten Wofford, of all people, and won our third straight SoCon title in our last game ever in the SoCon. I mean, that moment was incredible, and I barely remember ripping my shirt off. I got a lot of guff for it because I got stuck on my face because it was so wet outside. But I mean, just that moment, just having that three-peat, leaving the SoCon, riding out, is incredible.
Go back and I guess talk about how the play developed for that goal against Wofford, and just the moment before the ball went in the net and the moment after it went in the net. What's going through your mind? What's happening in Jason Waterman's head?
Yeah. So it's after about the 100th minute. So at that point, thoughts really aren't happening. It's just sort of, you're going on muscle memory, just running on adrenaline, just doing it for your teammates, for the fans, for everyone who supported us. And so, I mean, that last play, I made the same run maybe 100 times that day, and I knew if I made it 100 times, I'd get one. So that's all that matters. It's the beauty of being a forward. So I just remember seeing Coway get the ball, and I just take off. I mean, I'm just running with whatever I have left. Coway controls the ball wonderfully, finds me, and I don't even think about it. I'm just going off just however many times I've practiced kicking the ball into the corner of the net, and I see it, I just hit it, I watch it go past the goalie, and as soon as it goes past the goalie, I think I was already taking my shirt off. I mean, I was just ecstatic, and it was a great play, and just so wonderful. I mean, I can't really describe it.
Let's go forward a couple of days. I mean, you guys found out, I mean, you knew you were going to the NCAA tournament. Game's going to be at home. What does that mean to you guys to be over there playing on rough field?
Yeah, to get a home game in the NCAA tournament was so special to us. It was the first time Elon's ever hosted an NCAA tournament game, so that was something we could take a lot of pride in and something we could hang our hats on, but mostly to be able to give that experience to the fans. I mean, to have an environment like we did with setting the attendance record for all first-round games anywhere in the country at Rudd Field, where you just stand around the fence. There's not that many stands, but to have everyone right around the fence like that makes it such an incredible environment. Everyone's so close, you can hear people yelling and screaming, and hopefully the other team can hear them yelling and screaming. Hopefully not offensive things, but
of course.
maybe some things aren't so nice that really help us out. But to give that experience to all the people around us who supported us, from, I mean, our friends and family and athletic staff and administration and professors were there who have always been so nice to me when I say, I'm not going to be in class, I have soccer. And then they were there supporting us. And it was just incredible to have all those people come together for that event and really make such a special experience.
I guess talking about it as the play developed for the first goal in the game to kind of get a little bit of gap between Clemson. Did you think, all right, this is the goal? It's gonna be did you guys go into the game thinking it's gonna be a 1 or 2 goal game that's gonna win this? Yeah. And then also if you could talk about the goal.
Yeah. So one of the things our team takes a lot of pride in is finding ways to win. So we don't really go into any game thinking that we're going to win this 1-0 or we're going to win this 5-2 or whatever. We just know that we're going to find a way to win. So we knew that Clemson was a really talented team and definitely had the offensive firepower to get on the board. So going into the goal that we scored, I don't know how Nathan Deal got so far up the field. I mean, he's our center back, and he loves to dribble. Somehow he got to the edge of the box. I mean, he's an incredibly talented dribbler. So I wasn't surprised to see him there, but I just go, hey, our center back is 4 feet away from me. So Deal just dribbles through and plays me a little through ball. And, I mean, at that point, it's just get it to the back of the goal. There's no thought about form or anything. It's just purely just reacting. So thankfully, I reacted correctly and just slid and kicked the ball into the goal past the keeper. And I mean, that moment, hearing all the fans, and even before that, hearing all the fans, it just really empowered us so much to perform at a high level. And it was incredible when that goal went in. And then the rest of the game was crazy.
As the story goes, they get another goal.
Yeah.
Time expires. We'll take it piece by piece. What's going through your mind? Time expires. We're going into PKs. What are you thinking right then?
Going into the penalties against Clemson, penalties is a place we found ourselves before. Obviously, in the App State game, we got 9 deep and only missed 1. So that was something that we kind of knew that we could hang our hats on. And penalties is really just a test of skill and mental fortitude. And we do a lot of conditioning and work really hard to be in shape. So that sort of helps with the fatigue at that point, which makes your skill a little bit better, and also provides sort of that mental strength that you can do this, you can persist and all that stuff. So we just try and, at half field, we're just trying to like crack jokes and like make each other laugh. And some people are better at it than others, but everyone's just trying to relax everyone, because a penalty is just so simple. And the only way you can like mess it up is if you really choke. Well, fortunately for us, nobody on our team really choked. Being 4th on the list, I didn't think I was going to have a chance to win it, but Clemson had missed 2. I believe Nathan made a great save on 1. The other was not very good at all. And so I watched them miss theirs, and as I'm about to run up, I thought for a second, oh wait, if I hit this, do we win? And I realized that we did. Thankfully, that would have been awkward if I scored and we hadn't won and I took my shirt off. But so I just went up there, and you become really self-conscious of everything you're doing. So when everyone's eyes are on you, what does my jog look like? Like, what do I do with my hands and different things like that? And that's the kind of stuff you have to overcome, because that's basically how you choke. So I just started thinking about all the people who supported me, and in one sense, you don't want to let anyone down. I mean, the seniors on the team who this could be their last game ever, our coaches who work so hard for us, all the fans who had showed up. You don't want to let down the fans who'd been there for 110 minutes out there watching us. But when you think about it, I mean, at the end of the day, my teammates would embrace me just the same if I had missed it. And the fans, I don't know, I might not have got quite the cheers, but I wouldn't really worry about it, because my friends who were really my friends would still be my friends. So that's the type of thing I try and think about, just trying to relax, just passing the ball into the corner. And I mean, I barely remember anything after that moment. As soon as I kicked it, I knew the goalie wasn't going to get to it. And again, I think I started taking my shirt off before it hit the net. But I mean, just that feeling when the ball went in the net, and I knew we'd gotten farther as a team than we ever had before, and to do it in front of the fans was unbelievable.
Yes, we'll go forward a week now. I mean, obviously, you didn't leave UCLA with the result you guys wanted, but talk about that whole experience. I mean, you're flying out to Los Angeles, you're taking in everything there, you're playing a team that's, and it's one of the best teams in the nation.
Yeah.
Talk about that whole experience.
Yeah. So going to LA was quite an experience. At the end of the day, we were obviously really disappointed with the result. We weren't really satisfied with just getting past the first round. We wanted to get farther, but That's not the way it happens, but being in LA and was cool in the sense that we've got a lot of support from people in that area who are supporting Elon, and that was really cool to see people come from a place however far LA is from Elon and all get together to come support us, and President Lambert and Athletic Director Dave Blank, among many other people who came out to support us. That was really cool to see all these people who were here just for us, and we were really appreciative of that.
So when you look back on the 2013 men's soccer season, how do you describe it? What are? I mean, obviously you have the goals, you have all that. What does Jason Waterman? How does Jason Waterman sum it up if someone asks in passing or quickly?
Yeah. Well, it's funny if someone asks me about, it's like, hey, how'd last season go? I'm like, yeah, it went well. Thanks for asking. But more specifically, I mean, I just remember the cohesiveness of the team, really, and just everyone working for each other. And no matter what the results were, I'd still have my teammates there. And I always remember the seniors who we had this year, who some of them will never play again. Obviously, others are continuing to play professionally. But I'll always remember my teammates, especially the ones who graduated from that season, and look back upon it fondly.
What's next? What's next for both Jason Waterman and the Elon men's soccer program? Where do you think it goes from here?
Yeah. So I guess the theme since I've been on the Elon soccer team is that we progress and get better and better every year. So we're going to work really hard this spring. We've already been working really hard throughout January, getting in shape and trying to hone up our skills heading into the spring season. And we're just going to continue to work hard. And when we get back together in August, we're going to set goals that exceed what we did last year. And we're losing a bunch of key pieces again, obviously, but that just means everyone's going to have to work harder. And that's something that our team's going to embrace. So I'd expect Elon men's soccer to have a really good season next year.